Welcome back to another episode of Devil's Advocate Trades Edition with my co-host, Michael. Good morning, Michael.
Welcome right back.
You'll edit it.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Just goes into the next one right away.
This is it.
They didn't even fucking stop.
Right.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Lisa.
How are you?
Still, good. Coffee's good. I'm good. Weather's good.
It's okay. I'm near the end.
Mm.
Maybe we should have stopped it for real so we go get work.
Right, and actually got some coffee. Keep that caffeination up. Actually, it's funny. I see myself now and I'm like, wow, I'm really starting to get tan. Starting to look like I live on a boat.
You are. You're getting very tanned. You look darker than me.
Oh, I can go like almost Cuban dark.
Oh, wow. That's pretty dark.
Yep. For a Dutch
Okay, we
Scotsman,
wanted to talk. Last time we talked back to back in regards to trust. So where do you want to take us today?
Well, I think so trust kind of wrapped up pretty nicely. But I think and then we talked a little about also in trust is are we lying to our young people about the build out, what's coming in the industry? And I mean, industry is going over a massive change right now. So I think it was Fink who had said that in his portfolio alone, they're going to require 300,000 just electricians. Right. And this isn't just data centers. Everybody keeps talking about data centers. But I mean, there's a lot of migration going on. There's a lot of new homes that need to go up, which would cause this, additional commercial infrastructure, manufacturing, all that type of stuff. So there's a lot happening for changing the industry as far as construction goes. And then now you've got this thing happening with the government buying condos, right? From developers. Who knows what's really going on here? Keeping the prices up. So our tax dollars competing with home value? How does that work?
So what I've noticed in Canada is it's different for every province. I have noticed that there is a massive influx in building condo because condos tend to be cheaper. That's what people think. So this is what people need to realize is when you build a condo, they'll be like, oh, it's only $200 for condo fees. Nay. When you buy a new condo from the developer and you pay the $250, that might last a year, maybe two. But then when a board of directors gets their hands on it and then has to create a budget with a property manager or self-managed, then do it themselves, they're going to realize that your condo fees have to spike in order to maintain and obtain the current revenues they require to fix all of the roofs, siding, windows, doors, parking lots. They need to bring up those condo fees. So now your $250 goes to $480, $520. And people are like, what the fuck? I bought this condo thinking, and I'm like, be prepared that whatever you think it is, it's going to double. I guarantee that to you, because if you think for a second that in 25 years, you're not going to have to do roof and siding and windows all within the same span,
right?
And you don't have enough money inside of that reserve fund, you're fucked. You're cash calling. And none of us at this particular moment in our time can cash call 10 grand out of our ass.
Right.
Most people can't. I don't care who you are. There's a small percentage that are like, oh yeah, 10 grand, here you go. But a lot of people are either taking it out of their savings, they're taking it out of their retirement funds, they're taking it out of different equity, they're remortgaging their houses. It's not fair. And some of them can't even do that. They're tapped. Credit is tapped because of where we are as a society right now. So in Alberta, I can tell you that maybe 20% could do it. The other 80% is going to either have to find ways to pull it, put it on credit, or not be able to afford it at all.
Right.
So your condo fees have to go up. And that hurts because now when you're sitting there going, oh, I only have to pay $250 or $280, and now I'm all the way up to $500 or over $500. You're
or
like,
$1,000 or $2,000. I've seen some pretty big numbers for condo fees.
Yeah. Well,
and then the surprise, $15,000 in the next 60 days.
That's a cash call. Yep. So that happens. And here's the other thing is that if your operating has to be able to maintain all of your operating costs, and people don't understand what's inside of operating costs. So If you're talking about operating costs, you're talking about your garbage removal, your snow removal, your landscaping, your electricity, because all those little poles that have all of the electrical, and then
Mhm.
all of your lighting that's inside of your parkade system, or that's inside of your hallways, or that's on um, your surface parking when you drive into the parkade. That's all corporation cost.
Right.
Okay, so things like that. You've also got if there's pests, if someone calls in for a pest problem, that's not a reserve, that's an operating. If someone has a leak and it blows out 3 condos, 3 units, that's an operating, that's not a reserve cost. So these are things that people don't realize is that most comes out of your operating.
Yep.
So if your operating money isn't good, because they're non for profit, we're budgeting based on minimal, if no real problem.
Right.
Right? So a lot of boards now are being smart and putting in a contingency, miscellaneous 10 grand, which could be anything. It could be paying for a deductible. It could be paying for pest control. It could be paying for anything that could possibly go wrong that they might need that money. So, which is smart because you should have a contingency inside of your budget.
Right.
Not everybody does it though. So now you're grappling at trying to pay for this, which can get very difficult. So that's where I always tell people when it comes to what's going on across provinces, every corporation is different. Every province governs somewhat differently, even though there is the act, um, the condominium act. It's different. Like, I mean, Ontario is so different than Alberta, so different than BC, so
Right.
different than Saskatchewan. And you guys also have, like, I call you guys the Wild West.
Yeah, we are.
I do. Like, Ontario is like the shit that I hear from Ontario, I'm just like, "What? Can't do that." And then I go look up your guys' condo act in Ontario, and
Right.
it's like, it's not even, like, through government PDF, the way that it comes up. It's
Isn't it a downloadable Word document, like editable?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like what?
yeah. And I'm
Like
like,
guys,
"Oh."
like just use Cloud Convert. It's free. Go get the Word
Right.
document, convert it into PDF, and re-upload it. Like,
So, in Alberta, you have to go through King's Printer, which is everything printed out, off of our provincial site.
right.
So the province oversees any act or any type of legislation that's been passed.
So is it all like
You
watermarked in the background and
you
everything?
got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all watermarked. It's all like you have to either pay for it or you have to obtain it through the court system, or you know what I mean? So we can all obtain it. I can obtain it. I can hit a view and then save. Otherwise, you can buy the document that's sent to you. But what everyone's trying to do is keep you digital, right? They don't want
Right.
you to, they'll let you keep it digitally, but if you want to print it, you can. But if you want the actual document bound sent to you, they'll do that,
Right.
but it's for a cost. But that it was something that I found really interesting in Ontario is that I was like, this is a fucking Word document. I could change the legislation on it.
Right. And just hand it to somebody and just be like, here's what it is. Take out some of the legal stuff at the top so you're not technically misrepresenting. And if the person doesn't know, I don't know. I don't even know whether or not they would be breaking the law.
It's scary. And then I hear so many things like, so as you know, I sit on the board for ACMA out here in Alberta.
Mhm.
And then I also speak to people part of ACMO, which ACMO is kind of like they're like the parent of this association. And the ACMO people they're really smart, and most of them are really cool. I like your president right now and your vice president, super smart people, both very much in condo, um, and have a lot of knowledge into the
Right.
condominium world, especially in Ontario. But what I'll tell you, there's associations that exist inside of Ontario that people should try to be more a part of in those associations, especially the CCI side of it for boards, because there's both. So CCI is more for boards, ACMO is more for managers. But I hear so many things like the managers are really lazy, they don't do anything. And I've heard it in Alberta too, but it seems to be a running dialogue more in Ontario
Yep.
than it does in Alberta. Alberta, you always hear like, "Oh, my manager's lazy," or "I can't get a hold of them." That's like for every single conversation I have, like 3 out of 10 people say that. Ontario, it's like 5 out of 5.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I mean, like the only person you ever see is the person who, goes around there, the project manager, I guess. I don't even know what they would be listed as. They're basically
Mhm.
like like slightly above the person who vacuums the floors. right? And they're their gatekeeper. They're the
Mm,
gatekeeper to everybody. You don't find out when the condo meetings are. You don't find out any of the minutes. You report. You go straight to your management, and all of a sudden that person's contacting you, and you're like, "Wait, I didn't contact you.
mhm,
Why are you contacting me? I went here. Why are you contacting me?
mhm.
It's nothing. In fact, it was a complaint about you, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
So, I don't know how Ontario runs. I haven't looked at your legislation for a bit now, but in Alberta,
Mm,
you have the property manager that is they're like an example of like an owner's representative of the property. They oversee the entire real property.
right,
Okay. And help you with your budgets and any concerns and help guidance, help governance. That's their job. Okay. Is to make sure you guys stay within governance of your
mm,
corporation. You stay within your fiduciary duty. Okay. That's what they work at, trying to make sure they maintain. They're not here to educate you, they're here to advise.
right,
You shouldn't do this because, and if they need some backup, they call lawyers, they call people like me, they call other contractors to say, yeah, that's not a good idea.
yep,
So, or this is a great idea, this is how you do it. Right? So that's kind of what they do. So then if you came down to Alberta, let's say you and Red came down to Alberta, you guys got a condo, you're living in the condo, and there's a problem, and she's like, the board president is a complete asshole and completely dismissed everything we were talking about. She sends it to the condo manager. The condo manager has to abstain that chair or that person from the communications. And then they have to have a meeting with the remaining board to say, this is a problem. Have you seen anything else? This is the concern that's coming through. Or they will take the name out and say, a complaint has been lodged against a board member. Does anybody have any information about, what's happening here? But most of the time they will remove that party
right,
because then there's room for retaliation. Board members are volunteers. And it's one of the biggest things we see is conflict. Conflict is so huge. So when we did like sitting on ACMA, we started doing more on conflict. Even me that does stuff with like COF or did stuff with CCI, I talk more about, I brought people in that talk, like lawyers that talk about conflict
right,
and what that looks like, whether it's board member to owner, contractors with owners, contractors with boards. There's conflict everywhere because we're all dealing with people.
right,
So that's a really big topic. And that's where I get concerned for Ontario because there has been conflict that has led to um, some pretty crazy situations,
yep.
right? Like were there board members were shot in Ontario, in Toronto.
I believe it.
Yeah. Threatened and shot at. And that's where people are like, "Oh, well, that person's crazy." But you wanna know what I've noticed is that every single problematic person on a site is just not being heard. They're actually not crazy at all. Actually, they have a lot of validity in what they're saying, and whether it's a problem inside the board, problem on the site, they're just not being heard. They've just been branded as the problem. And what
Yep,
happens is if you keep telling someone they're a problem and keep rejecting listening to them, they're gonna lose their fucking marbles eventually,
yep. Well, I
right?
mean, when you mess with somebody's finances, which includes their home, right? Their home
Yeah,
is still part of their finances. When you mess
100%.
somebody's finances, it's a big deal,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
money is
it
very
falls
emotional.
just below family because that finances supports your family, right? Like,
Right.
right? It's hearth and home.
But it's
But by
also
the
so
idea of buying it, the idea for me of buying an anchovy box in the sky,
mhm.
it just seems ludicrous.
Agreed. At the same time, it's also an element of psychological warfare to continuously tell somebody that you don't want to listen to them, you don't want to hear them. What they're saying is they're just causing conflict, they're this, they're that. Whenever you tell somebody they're a problem,
Mm,
when they know what they're talking about and they've done the research and they've jumped down the rabbit holes to provide this information, and you are told you're like held at a full dead stop, that's psychological warfare on
right,
people because they're like, if you just listened, you would have the information to help all of us. And it's just like, no, we're not listening to you. You're a problem. You've always been a problem because this person said you're a problem. That person said you're a problem. This person said you're a problem. And so then someone like me comes onto the site where I don't know anybody. And I'm like, they're like, oh, this person, and they'll tell me right away, Unit 56 is a problem. And I'm like, oh, that's where I'm going.
right.
And I walk over to unit 56 and I knock on their door and I'm like, "Hi, my name's Lisa and this is what I do and your board's hired me and I want to know what you know." And from that point, I can figure out, I can decipher real quick if they are, like not the sharpest pencil in the pack, or if they are all of the pencils, well fine-tuned and sharpened, and they know exactly what's going on, and that's normally what happens. It's so rare, Michael, that I don't get, like, a whole bunch of paperwork handed at me. "This is what I found.
Right.
This is what's happening. Here are the pictures I've taken." And I'm like, "Oh." And that's why I go straight to that unit. I always say, "Who's the problem person here?" "Oh,
Yeah, I'll
this
go
person."
there.
"Why are they problematic?"
Yeah.
"Well, because they keep blah, blah." "Okay, perfect. I'm gonna go see them." They usually have all the info.
Well, they become obsessed with it, right?
Of course,
Right? You're
because
not
they
being
want to.
heard. You're like, okay, well, I'll get more. I'll get more. I've got time to get more. They probably came at you with a little bit. If you just solved that little bit, it would just gone away.
Yeah.
Then they're like, okay, well, I'm just going to keep digging until it becomes this mountain out of several molehills.
Where it becomes irrefutable.
Right.
And now I can deem and prove that you guys have neglected your fiduciary duty and all of you should be wiped off the board because they
Right.
make it personal, because the board has made it personal.
Assuming you can
Listen to your
find who your
people.
board members are.
Yeah, just listen to your people. I'm not saying all of them have validity. I'm not saying all of them are right, but I'm saying just listen to your people.
Right.
Sometimes that's all it takes for, like you said, had you just listened to this little much and actually like took a minute to listen and maybe do something about it or tell them, you know what, that's valid. I'll look into it. I'll send
Right.
it off to the condo manager. That's all you got to do. And then when you send it to the condo manager, CC them so that they see you've done what you've said you're going to do.
Right.
So that they can't come back if the condo manager comes back to you and says, "This is great, but we can't do anything, and then here's why." And then also they see that coming back from the condo manager as well, right?
Yep.
Just listen to your people. Because like we talked about, it's people, everything's people ran. Everything's so much more expensive. They need a fucking rental cap out here in Alberta. Jesus Christ. So greedy out here.
Everybody's greedy.
No,
Everybody's greedy.
Alberta is horrible for it. Every other province has a rental cap. I don't know any provinces that don't have rental caps. I could be wrong, but every province has a rental cap.
Like,
You
what do you
can
mean rental
only put
rental
up the rent
increase
so
cap?
with that?
Rental increase cap?
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. But then you can just skirt it by saying, oh, we had additional costs. So they can do almost the same type thing that condos do here in Ontario. In fact, I have a piece of paper over here that's for this place, right?
Mhm,
Where it's like, well, instead of being, that 2.2 or whatever it is, we're actually going to go for 4.8,
mhm.
right? Because, oh, we had these costs, these costs, these costs. And if they can reasonably prove it, then okay, then they just skirt it, right? So having a cap really isn't a cap.
Yeah, but then there's other ways of fighting what you're talking about, right? So someone like me would come in and look at that letter that you got, and I would say, "Okay, well," like you and
Oh,
I have
I look
talked
at
about,
it and I go, no, that's horseshit. It's
well,
horseshit.
it's
I can
cost of
go
doing
around and
business.
they're like balcony work, like $780,000. Cool. You just go around, take a picture of the balcony. I see uncaulked, I see unfinished, I see unpainted, unsealed.
It's not even that. It's not your cost, it's theirs. They're the owner,
Right.
and that is a corporation cost. Balconies and exclusive use areas are a corporation cost, which means that everybody has to pay into it. Has nothing to do with the renters.
Right.
You wouldn't be obtaining rent if you didn't fix this.
Right.
So if you wanna maintain your rental, your rental, budgets or whatever, you have to keep them. Then you have to make sure that the place is livable. You can't have somebody step out on your deck and say, "I didn't do it because I can't milk any more money out of my renters." And then your renter falls off that balcony or that balcony all of a sudden takes a dip.
Right.
Now your renter has a lawsuit against you because it's
Right.
uninhabitable and it was dangerous.
Oh, I
Now
saw
your
oddly, so you would have
corporation
loved it.
has
I
a
saw
lawsuit
awesome
against you.
things like $50,000 for a water heater.
Not in a condo.
No, 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 no.
It'll be it'll
This is not a huge building. Right. There's a mechanical. So the mechanical room services, because I know what the mechanical rooms are. The mechanical room service about 18 units.
okay. How big is the
$50,000
boiler?
is insane.
Is it a boiler or a furnace? Because
No, no,
most
it's just a
most
water
buildings are
heater.
run off a boiler.
No, it's a
Sorry?
water heater. It's a
Okay.
round water heater.
How big is it?
I think it's probably 240 gallons. That's not
You don't
fifty
have a bigger
thousand
one?
dollars. I'll tell you
You don't have
that.
2? Most places have
No,
2.
it's got the one. It's got one on a research system.
Mm, 'kay.
$50,000. I'm like, I don't think so. I'm like,
Uh,
cool. You know what? Maybe I should get a friend to start an HVAC company and just work here because all you have to do is work 2 or 3 times a year and that's it. You make all your money you need.
yeah, I don't know how I don't I would have to see it. I'd have to, like, take a trip down to Ontario and take a look at it, and you would know
Yeah.
better than me. You're HVAC, you've got a
Yeah.
plumbing
Oh,
background,
no, no, I
mechanical
know. It's
background.
nowhere close. Nowhere
Yeah.
close.
So, uh, for me, $50,000 for a condo is not completely unreasonable in Alberta.
For a
If you remember
condo,
when
a whole condo. Yeah.
Mhm. It's not because I've seen them upwards of a few 100,000,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you get into
you know?
the larger, like, more of a boiler type system rather than a hot water tank system, especially.
Well, you and I talked about this. Remember when I got my water heater done and I went tankless and
Yeah.
you and I were talking and I was like, "I'm not gonna get it any cheaper than this," and you're like, "You could get it cheaper than that," and then you
Alberta
realized
prices
that
are way higher.
on yeah, Alberta and Ontario are 2 very different prices.
Yeah, like, you're
Price
actually
point.
better if you're in Alberta, you're actually better to have a company located here, buy it here, ship it to Alberta,
Yeah.
and get it cheaper.
But would we get it cheaper based on the different taxes you guys pay versus the taxes we
You
pay?
just buy it here, you just start a company here in your own name for 50 bucks, start a company here in Ontario for 50 bucks. You buy it here, you ship it to your other company, you pay the shipping fee by buying it dollar for dollar. That's it, save the
Listen to
money.
you, eh? You're just telling everybody how to, like, circumvent all the things.
Listen, it's the same company. It's Noble Trade here, Noble Trade there. It was
Yeah,
literally $1,000 difference for that tankless from Alberta to here.
I know,
A
I know.
$1,000 difference.
It is what it is. It is $1,000 difference. It's fucking retarded.
Yeah, it's $1,000.
Ah, it's fine.
So if you bought skids of them, if you're a large enough company, you bought skids of them, so like 30 boilers,
Mhm,
100 boilers,
mhm.
you could truck it out there and you can actually start your own wholesale company and be less
Yeah,
than the competition. Hey,
true.
there's a
But
business
I think
idea.
in
If you want a
Alberta there's
business idea,
rules in Alberta too, though. Mm.
you're just a wholesale company. As
I
long as
mean,
you're not
there's
caught, as
rules,
long
but
as you're
there's not, right? I mean, like, we seem to I mean, there's a lot of people who get away with a lot of shit.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's what it is.
So
Okay.
just don't do gas appliances and do the electric ones. Stay away from the
Yeah,
licensing issue.
say that to Albertans. "Don't do the gas ones." They'll be
Oh,
like,
I would
"Fine."
do gas. Of course I would do gas. It's way more efficient.
So,
The fact that people are using like air source heat pumps, that's still
mm,
electrical heating and cooling.
yeah.
It's electrical heating. It just they put a nice spin on it.
Well, regardless, it's not a tenant's responsibility to upkeep the unit when it comes to mechanical,
Mm,
okay? So, technically, if you're putting holes in the wall
yeah,
and you're changing the paint color and you're doing different things aesthetically that are going to create a problem, the owner can say, "Put it back to the way you moved into it." They have every
correct.
right to do that.
Yeah,
But if an owner, isn't taking care of plumbing, heating, safety on balconies or exclusive use areas, that's an owner problem. That's
right.
not a tenant problem. And that's a cost that an owner has to whether I lived there or not, it's a problem I have to take on. I can't look at my renters because I had a condo unit that I had renters in, and they were like, "The water heater's down." I'm not like, "Oh, well, your rent's gonna go up because the water heater cost me fucking, $800 and I'm gonna need to recoup that." No,
No,
it's my unit. I can sell
you're
it whenever
obligated
I
to
want.
provide me water. I
Yes, I'm obligated to provide hot water to
yeah,
my tenant. Not only that, at any point in time, I can give them notice of me selling. I can give them notice of a rental increase. But in Alberta, what's different is I can give them a notice that it's going up exponentially. You guys have an actual cost control.
right,
So, Alberta, I can be like, let's say someone comes in and they're paying $800 a month in my condo.
right.
Next year, I can charge them 14. And I'm like, that's gross. It's
Sam
gross.
wonder.
So that's where I get grumpy with Alberta.
I'm kind of curious
Oh,
because I
you're gonna
wonder
love
if there's actually some business in this for you. Because there's like 500 units. All right, let's say times $2,000 a month. Let's say that's probably low.
it. Okay.
All right, times point 0.25, which is the additional increase that they're looking for. So I mean, it's $250,000. So if it's $250,000 in total saved rent, if they don't jack this, assuming $2,000 a month for rent, which is low, right? I mean, all you have to do is just be like, hey, if everybody throws in $10, hire Lisa, fight it all in one shot. Right? I mean, but this is the reality of the situation. Is be like, look, put a professional on it instead of going in as a somebody so and so where you don't know anything. Put a professional on it.
Mhm.
Like I was telling, like if I had a condo and I had any problem with the condo, you think I'm dealing with them whatsoever, short of one email? I'm going to
Mhm.
give them one email, one opportunity. As soon as they don't do something, I'm going to put you in place, and I'm going to be like, "First, Lisa's dealing with this, and you're going to pay me Lisa's cost afterwards because I
Mhm.
had to do this because I don't know the rules. I don't know that stuff, and you weren't getting back to me,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah,
you
and
just you,
I'm
you pay Lisa and then go for a civil case,
yeah, and that's fair. I mean, it's not I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I do know lots about industry, but then at the same time, I'm also someone that will get you to a certain point, and then might be like a handoff to a lawyer.
right?
I'm done. I'm concluded. I've taken you as far as I can take you. Here's the lawyer you need to deal with.
Do you think most? I think most condos, most rental places, most anything. I think most of them would cave. They would cave because they're like, listen, we're not going to go get into lawyers' fees and everything else like that because I mean, odds are they're not going to get their lawyers' fees back.
Mhm.
So
Mm,
why are they going to rack that up
it
unless they're
depends,
their
right?
golf
Like, so
buddies?
if I sit down and I have a conversation with one lawyer and I say to this lawyer, hey, I've got all of these clients that need legal assistance.
Hmm?
This is what they pay me. Would you take my fee because they can afford it?
Right,
Or would you work on contingency and let them know you're taking a cost of it?
right,
Or is there something we can do where you can be the legal aspect, but I'll do all the work?
yeah.
So I'll pay you a percentage. I will pay you a
Well,
percentage,
look,
right?
if everybody paid the increase that they're seeking for 1 month,
Mhm,
that would just 1 month instead of forever,
mhm,
just on that increase difference, that'd be already a $250,000 payment to the lawyer.
mhm.
1 month.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
lot. It's a lot of money because people
A lot
just
of
think,
money.
you know what,
That's a
it's
lot
two
of money.
percent, it's 2%, it's 2%, it's 2% across 500 units
Yeah.
or a
Well, it
thousand
also
units or two
puts
thousand units.
well, it also puts me in a position that if that's the case, I would put a condo lawyer on retainer for my company,
Right.
right? So that's the other thing that I could look at doing is saying to a condo lawyer, listen, like have one in Edmonton and one in Calgary and just have them on retainer and say, this is what I'm going to come to you with. It's my client. I'm your client. I require your legalese and your legal expertise because I'm not a lawyer, which then also covers my insurance because my insurance is like, nay, nay,
Right.
don't be doing shit outside your scope.
Yeah.
Right. And that's something, I mean, if you're looking at a cost yeah, that's a lot of money. I would rather spend, you know, if I'm doing if I'm doing everything, but then here's the thing, I would rather spend out of that $100,000, right? Like for for two lawyers on each side. So for like one in Calgary, one in Edmonton, and give them 50K each, you know, for the year. Because I'm only just going to need a couple of letters here and there.
Right.
And if they're retainer, if I give them $50,000, I'm not going to burn through it
No.
most of the time because I'm doing all the work. But then that becomes the paralegal side of it. And I'm like, I don't want to be a paralegal. But then I also know construction and I understand condo and I understand governance and I understand all of the little moving parts inside of it.
Right.
Right. So, but then you're also talking about rentals, right? I kind of stay out of the rental side for the reason of if a tenant brings me on, I have to explain to them, be prepared. Your owner is probably not going to reimburse you for my costs because I'm
No.
going against them.
Yeah.
So if you think that you can get, and that's something that I always get asked of me by condo boards or other people is, well, can we sue for your costs? You can do whatever you want, but you've got to pay me and there's no guarantee they're going to pay you. You have to remember if you're hiring a pit bull to go after somebody, that person doesn't want to pay for the pit bull. That's your investment.
Yeah.
You've invested in me to give you all of the information and go after somebody properly within the legal confinement of what's happening and then move forward accordingly. And if moving forward accordingly is we're bringing in different representation, whether that's legal, whether that's engineer, whether that's whatever, then that's what happens. But I will tell you, I will get to this point and then I'm done because now it's treading on that legalese aspect where I have to now take a side seat. I have to stay in my lane and give it to the people that can run the next lane.
Right. Well,
right?
this is where it swings back to what we talked about, well, today slash last week. Is the community element, right? Where people are like, the corporation's always stomping down and the big guy's always taking out the little guy. Again, if you have 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000 units, and everybody put $10, $10, you can actually fight back. You can fight back if you can get people on board for $10. And it always reminds me of the story when it was an old penny saver thing where the guy he put it in the penny saver, put an ad, and he says, if you want to learn how to make $1,000,000,
Hmm.
right, send me $1 to this mailing address. And then all he did eventually is he responded to everybody, put an ad in the penny saver asking everybody for $1,
Yeah.
right? Because you
Yeah.
make $1,000,000, right? It's a million people, $1, right? Like you can either go big money by yourself or you can
Yeah.
actually go the community style and everybody comes forward.
I agree. The other side of that too is when we're dealing with condo side.
Mm.
So someone like me, because I deal with uh, restoration slash uh, capital reserve. Okay, so whenever you're dealing with a capital reserve item, even if it's a restoration side, because a lot of times I get brought in, it's a restoration. It's like my deck is falling apart, my siding is rotten, I have dry rot somewhere on the exterior, which is building envelope,
Mhm.
which now becomes a reserve expenditure. I am covered under reserve because I
Right.
am hired for reserve, which is a great thing because a lot of people are like, oh my God, are you another operational cost? Only if you're bringing me in to not look at your reserve items. If
Right.
you're trying to get me to do what you're saying, Michael, that's not a reserve item. That's a operating item. But like you said, if everybody put money in a pot and said, here you go, but then there's always going to be half of them. Like, that saying, uh, you invite 30 people, but always expect 10%.
Right. Yeah.
It's the same thing. So what happens if all these people want to bring me on, but only like 100% say yes, but only 30% pay? Now what?
No,
Or even
you're not, it's
seventy
not a yet.
percent pay and 30%
This
don't.
is like business. It's like business. It's not a yes until the transaction's made. That's not a
Mhm.
yes. It's still a maybe.
Yeah.
Right? If people say yes and they have no investment on their side, that's still a maybe.
Yeah. That's fair.
Right? I mean, that's why a lot of people for digital meetings now they're charging like $5 for a digital meeting. Just be like, hey, like it's nothing. It's $5.
Mhm.
Right? It's just put something in, right? Short of
Yeah.
I missed it, I missed it, I missed it, I missed it, whatever.
That's fair.
Right? But it's also, I don't know. I just see it silly that these people who own these buildings, whether it's a condo corporation, whether it's a rental building or anything else, especially the larger buildings, where you didn't realize the cost of operating a building when you built it
Yeah.
or when you purchased it. What kind of developer are you? What kind of owner are you that you have no knowledge, no wherewithal of what the cost could be down the road for renovations, repair, maintenance, upkeep? You
Okay.
just none of this was pre-calculated when you made that purchase. How did the bank give you money?
Mhm.
Right? Like if none of this was looked at, did you do a proper cash flow analysis ahead of time? Have you done that? Have you done your forecasting? Right? Have you put in a real accountant on it who actually knows what they're doing?
That's the other part of it. You always have to make sure you have an actual accountant on it. You have to make
Yeah.
sure that the person that's looking at your costs understands what they're looking at. And you can't just this is the other thing. People just think they can send it to any old accountant. You can't.
No.
Condo? No. No. Because there are lots of things, lots of moving parts.
Lots of
I'm not
variables.
saying I'm not saying no accountant can do it, but ones that are okay, so there's quite a few chartered accountants in Alberta, especially Calgary, because I did predominantly deal with Calgary,
Mhm.
that if as soon as I hear their name, I'm like, "Oh yeah, they know condo." Because they're in the realm, right? They're
Right.
in that industry. That's they it's not saying that they don't do anything else, but they are proficient in understanding condo and what their costs are and the general ledgers and what they're looking for. So when I send things to an accountant, I know exactly what they want when it comes to condo for
Yep.
everything because now they're not dealing with one account, they're dealing with multiple accounts, right?
Yeah, because one issue in one unit could be an issue for all the units below it or above it, right? Depending on what it is, right? Or side by
True,
side, right? I mean, like
but
there's a leakage. So now you're not just per unit problems. Your one problem, one unit is 10 units.
correct.
Right? So, I mean, there's a reflection that's different. It's not like a house, right? Where you're like, it's
No,
one thing,
it's
one
not.
thing.
but the cost would reflect that it would be a corporation issue, because they have to deal with the corporation as a whole, right?
Right.
So they're only doing the books for the corporation as a whole. So it may have commenced in this unit. So this is where the point of contact is the point of entry is for this unit. But it went through multiple party walls or ceilings or whatever, and it went in and it engaged in other units, which means that now it is a corporation issue. So the accountant is not going to look at what unit it started in. It's going to look at the cost of deductible that was paid by the corporation, but it's going to need the backup.
Right.
It's going to need to know that it started in unit 20 and it went from 20 to 10 to 5 to whatever. It needs to know, right? Or if it went across the unit. So it's, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, right? And it could be the units on each side and one down. So it needs to see, they need that backup.
Yep.
To show that every single unit was addressed and what the costs were from the restoration team, mitigation and rebuild, what those costs were, because those are costs that are going through insurance that they need the backup for. But then they got to show, here's the insurance check to the corporation to pay for these. For the contractor, it's all checks and balances, right?
Right.
They got to show that. So these are things that they got to pay. So it's a lot more paperwork for an accountant to deal with condo. Because it's not just, oh yeah, well, they paid a deductible of, $25,000.
Right.
And then here's the check-in to pay for all the work. They got to have, and any accountant knows this, like the more paperwork you have, the more CYA you have. Right. So when you're someone who's giving shit to your accountant, the less you give them, the more worried and concerned they become.
Right. Yep.
You're like, whoa. My accountants are like that. They're like, whoa, where's this? What's this going to? Send me, because they always get me to send all my bank statements, right? So they're like, what's this cost? And I'm like, so they've now trained me when I give them my bank statements to highlight and write why, or attach the receipt, right? So now I can't, it can't just be like, here's my bank statements, decipher them. They're like, oh, that's not my job. That's your job.
You're right. Yeah, you're like, no, just here. Here's the statements. Here's the receipts. We figure it out. Yeah, I don't know if you're using an abacus. I don't know what you're doing, but
so my receipts. So I'll hang on here. I got receipts. Okay.
Lisa always comes with receipts.
So this is a sushi one. Okay. So I will have to write at the top who I took for lunch
The
and
reason.
the date.
Yeah.
Right. So same with this. This is gas. Right. And then there's one for Walmart. That's a big one for Walmart, but that's because I bought a brand new laptop. Right. So there's that one. And then there's Home Depot because I had to pick up stuff for a client.
Wait, you don't just digitize everything?
All of these I have to write on here. So I haven't written anything on it yet. What's that?
Digitize it and use the name as the file.
I take pictures of it and it goes through my QuickBooks because now QuickBooks has it so I can take pictures of it. So I take pictures of all of them and they go straight into I just haven't done it yet. I'm just lazy right now. I was actually, to be honest with you, I was actually waiting for my, all of my books back for last year. So now I'm going to start taking pictures of all of my receipts. So now it goes all for my next one. And then I write, and then it asks you in your memo. And then I just type in my memo or text it, whatever.
You can also just create a calendar event, upload the picture to the calendar event, right? Like make a private calendar event, put that in there, put your memos in there, put all this stuff in there. It's all in your calendar event. Then just export your calendar at the end of the year.
Yeah. That's true.
It's like, here, there you go.
Yeah. Not wrong.
In fact, what you could do is you could actually, on those calendar events, is invite your accountant to it. So they actually have their own calendar version of it and they can keep updated live.
So my accountants are invited. They have their own access codes into my QuickBooks. So they get to see everything and they're an administrator on there.
Yeah.
So they do all the journal entries and they ask for it. And here's the thing. I have an amazing accountant. So whatever she wants, she gets.
Right.
If she calls me and says, I need this, she gets it. She calls me and asks me a question, I give her the information. So I have really great accountants, so I never give them a hard time. And it's really hard. I don't think there's a part of me that's like, I can't leave my accountant. Like I get so many people that are like, oh, do you need an accountant? No.
Most of them will run a free fact check.
I almost get upset.
I don't think that's a bad idea. Run a free fact check. Most of them will be like, hey, I'll look over your last couple of years and see if there's any gaps. Because the thing is, accountants can be great. They can be nice. They can be awesome. And maybe your accountant's perfectly up to date. Maybe not. Maybe she's only in Intuit level 1 instead of an Intuit level 2 or 3 inside of QuickBooks and doesn't know the little little subtle nuances that are in there, right? So depending on where she's at on her ranking with her QBO training, right? QuickBooks Online.
Oh, no, she's awesome.
So I always fact check. It's like a doctor. I mean, I could love my doctor, but every once in a while, if my doctor says something's really good or something's really bad, every once in a while, maybe you should probably go see another doctor just in case.
So here's the thing. If I ever feel like I need a second opinion,
Mm.
I'm with the wrong person. You should,
No, I totally
in my
disagree.
opinion, you should never feel like you need a second opinion because that means that they're not listening.
No, it's just fact
Well,
checking. It's just fact
no.
checking. It's temperature checking. That's it. Like, hey, you know what? You can be the nicest person. I'm always very satisfied. I'm 100% satisfied with your work. But that you don't know what you don't know until you realize I don't know it and neither did they.
Michael, that's a trust issue.
That's not a
I trust
trust
my
issue. That's
accountant.
fact checking. This
No,
is
that's a trust
business.
issue.
This is
You're
not,
telling your accountants that there might be somebody better out there that'll catch their shit, which means you don't trust that they're doing their
there's
job. That's a
always somebody better. There's
that's a
always
trust
somebody better.
issue. You have trust issues.
No, there's
I
always somebody
don't.
better.
I trust my accountant. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm not saying you don't have any validity in what you're saying. There's a lot of people who do that. They just, you know what, just for shits and gigs, let's get this checked and see if there's anything more we can do. Here's the thing with me. I love my accountants. I've had them for years. They have seen me through lots of things. They have been very gracious to me. And the last thing I'm going to do is be like, hey, just going to get this dude over here to double check your fucking
You
work.
don't have to
To me,
tell
it's
them.
insulting to my accountants. I would, for
You don't
everything
tell
they've
them.
ever done for me, I would never.
You
And
don't tell them.
they've never given me a reason to do that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying for me personally, I would never do that to my accountants. I adore them. Here's the thing. You don't kick a gift horse in the mouth. They have been so gracious to me and so kind, and they are very well-known accountants
Right,
inside of Calgary.
right.
They have a lot of clients and they are good people. They are humble and down to earth. I'm not saying they don't make mistakes, but you know what? They've gotten me out of a lot of fucking jams with the government, with GST, with whatever, because they see the whole picture and they make
Right.
sure they present it accurately. So at the end of the day, if I have like I said, if I have a concern with a service provider, it means I have a trust issue with them. And at that point, I need to pay attention to why I have a trust issue. So
It could
I'm not
just
going to get a second opinion from my doctor. I
all
love
I'm
my
saying,
doctor.
if there's all it takes is one potential miss, and that one potential miss, because maybe it's just something that they never came across their desk. It was an update that they just never saw. Everybody's human. Everybody's fallible. This isn't about disliking somebody. It's not anything else. It's a simple, honest mistake. But if somebody catches it, you could be talking about tens of thousands of dollars
Okay,
or more.
fair. So I want you to look at Red because I know she's there and she's
Yeah.
listening. And I want you to ask her which she agrees with, that there's a trust issue or that you should do it. And I will listen to whatever she has to say. No judgment.
Trust issue or do it. Fact checking your accountant.
I tendency to fact check
Fact
when
check.
it's somebody new.
Fact check when it's somebody new.
Okay, fact check when it's somebody new, but if it's not somebody new.
Not somebody new, no.
So you just ride it out for years.
Unless they give you warrant to
You guys are crazy.
to check it.
You guys are crazy. In all fairness, though, she does her own taxes, so
She's a smart
which I
cookie.
say is crazy. I say it's great. Give it to a professional.
And she might one day. She might give it to a professional. But right now, Julie trusts herself. It's her money.
You mean that whatever software is purchased?
What?
Whatever software is purchased. Those crappy.
Yeah, but there's
online
good
software.
softwares out there. You
No.
you have to remember, she's an intelligent woman. She's done it herself for years. She trusts herself. She trusts her software. And if there's ever a problem, she's got you to ask. And be
Right.
like,
So I
"Hey,
got a
this
guest
is what-"
suggestion. We're going to bring on a CPA. And we're going to talk to a CPA. And the CPA is going to tell you whether or not those softwares are good. And the CPA is going to tell you whether or not doing your taxes is recommended to do it yourself. And a CPA
Okay,
will tell you, should you fact check your CPA?
I've got a CPA. I've got multiple CPAs. So
Bring
what do
them
we want?
in.
Do we want just a
Bring them
regular
in.
CPA, or do we want one that's focused in building? Do I want focused in
Doesn't matter.
business? What do you want?
Doesn't
I'll call
matter.
my CPA and get them to
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah. And I
Sure.
would say if I'm confident in what I'm doing, right? So like say as a tradesperson, right? Confident in what I'm
Mhm.
doing. Even though I've had that client for years, every once in a while they're bringing another contractor. Just checking.
Okay, so I'll bring in my CPA. I don't think they do a lot of condo. I think they do a little, but the big dogs inside of condo, I'll call them.
Yeah. Just
And I'll be
"Hey,
like, "Hey, do you guys want to come on? Do you guys want to come on my podcast? Because I think we need to, You think we
Accounting
need
is
to?
actually a really good, interesting deep dive too, to say like what are things that condos should be looking at? Like, because we talk a lot about the other side of it,
Yeah,
not the actual condo itself or the developer itself and what they should
sure.
be looking at. So I think that'd be fascinating.
I'll reach out to them today and be like, "Hey, we're having a debate."
So the interesting thing too is this is what highlights the power of a podcast. Podcast, you could start a podcast for almost nothing, but you can reach people that otherwise would be unreachable.
It's very true. And I mean, everyone's going to have an opinion about what goes on. But I mean, for
Yep.
me, I know that there's a lot of people that, like, I was going through my emails, and it's so funny how my emails are because, as you know, I started this as a passion project, and that's what
Right.
it is for me. But I get these emails from all these different companies that are like, "Do you have a producer?" I'm like, "Why, I do." And they're like, "Well, you can optimize." And I'm like, "Here's Michael's email."
Yeah. You know how many of those meetings I get from them?
None.
Zero.
Yeah. Goose egg.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like when people
And
say
then are they,
they send me this professional thing like you should optimize your website, blah 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 blah, and it's at something, and you go to their website, it's not secure, it's not HTTPS, there's no
yeah.
H1 headers, and you're like, listen, you didn't really put your best foot forward, or the at Gmail's at Yahoo's at whatever, and you're like, you don't even have a URL to
Yeah. And
email.
then there's also like you've done really well. This is how many podcasts you produce. This is your ranking and these inside of these different areas, like these different socials, this is your ranking. And they're like, and they give like really good rankings. And then they're like, but you could make top dollar. And I'm like, it's a passion project. If I
It's not
wanted to
your
make
money.
top dollar, I'd get sponsors.
Yeah. I would
And
just be
then
like, for
not
me,
only
it's
that,
all about it's the relationship. And you know what? If it makes a difference for one person, then it's worth it.
but I agree, but here's the other side of it. When people come from that side of it, when you're podcasting, because a lot of people are like, I want to get monetized. I want to get monetized. Sure. Eventually one day I would love to be monetized, but it's not something that's ever been in the, like, it wasn't why I started it. I
Right.
started it to reach different people, to hear different things and how they want, and for them to be like, I totally get that, or I didn't think of that, or holy shit, she's crazy, whatever, stir up some feelings. But where I get, and this is where you have to realize that loyalty and trust are a big thing when we talk about this, because what they're asking me to do is dump you,
That's
and I
good.
refuse to
I
because
say
I'm
fact
loyal.
check you.
I'm not testing the waters
I
and
test the
fact
waters.
checking Michael
Test the
because I
waters.
trust he's doing a good job.
I tell everybody, always get a second opinion.
But I won't because I trust that you're doing a good job. The minute I gotta second guess you, and obviously I think you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you've never given me a reason to think that. So
Nah.
why would I do that?
Well, unless I go like, off grid for like 4 or 5 days.
You fucking done that shit. I thought you were dead. I
I
was
did.
like, Jesus, who's gonna fucking produce my shit now?
Yeah. Yeah.
God damn it.
You know what? Sometimes you're just like, and this laptop's got to close. That's it. I'm bouncing. Just disconnect. A lot easier
Uh-huh.
when I'm single, but in a relationship now it's a little bit more difficult. But I
Well, I
remember
don't
Red
know.
was
We have
waiting
our
for me for like
times.
4 hours to get home. She's just sitting in front of my place waiting for me. She's like, I figured you're out for a hike. I'll be back eventually.
Fuck, she's gonna send out search parties soon. You better quit
No,
your
she's
shit.
just like, I'll just wait it out. If it gets dark, I'll go home.
I know, but you see, you have a beautiful girlfriend who's sweet as pie.
Mhm.
And then she just got smart and she was like, I'm done waiting outside your place. Your place is now my place. And this is what's happening today.
Make it easier.
Right. And you were all too happy to oblige. You were like, sounds good. But
Anybody that ever
now
dated me,
you know
they've
where
always
you're
known
gonna end up.
I'm an all-in guy until not.
Yeah, but she'll go with you too, though. So if she's not working, she'll just go with you.
That
She enjoys doing the same things you do. And
next
I
thing
mean,
is hike day.
I think the best thing that's ever happened with her coming into your life is that you're not quite as incensed about your work. You back off a little bit. You take a little bit more time for you. You
Well, you don't share
celebrate.
time with somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah. Before you were like a psycho. Thank you. Thank you, Jules.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Don't
sure if
don't
you
get
were,
me wrong. I'll still like. She'll be like, she gets up in the morning. You're still up? Yeah, I just stayed up all night long.
yeah, but I feel that without her, you were getting close to the fucking foil hat, bro.
You're talking about at work?
Yeah, like the foil hat where you're like, listen, I can't have anybody find me.
No, I don't. I don't like people finding me anyway.
I know, but you were getting to the point where it's obsessive. I
I
was
don't
like,
care if I get doxxed or whatever. Fine. I mean, but beware. You dox me, I dox you.
well, it's not even that. You're like a pit bull. You're like, come, we can be friends and have a beer, but if you talk shit, I may kill you.
May is a very strong word.
May. Enter at your own risk.
And with
It
that
is.
warning, we're well over time.
Yeah, we are. So we'll wrap up. So thanks everybody for listening to Michael and I carry on again our antics and shenanigans. We will be back on next time with a guest. James is his name. I'm excited to meet him. He seems like he's going to be a really cool guy. So I guess don't do anything crazy.